welcome to Matriarchies as True Egalitarian Societies. That's the session. I have the great honor to chair this panel, and I would like to introduce Dr. Heide Godner-Abendroth. She's a mother and a grandmother. She earned her PhD in philosophy of science at the University of Munich, where she lectured for 10 years. She has published on philosophy of science and extensively on matriarchal society and culture, and through her lifelong research on matriarchal societies, has become the founder of modern matriarchal studies. Her magnum opus, Matriarchal Societies, Studies on Indigenous Cultures Across the Globe, defines scientifically this new field of knowledge and provides a world tour of examples of contemporary matriarchal cultures. She has been visiting professor at the University of Montreal in Canada and the University of Innsbruck in Austria. She lectured extensively at home and abroad. In 1986, she founded the International Academy FiLiA for Modern Matriarchal Studies in Germany, and since then, she has been its director. In 2003, 2005, and 2011, she guided 3 world congresses on matriarchal studies in Europe and the United States of America. She was twice a nominee for the Nobel Peace Prize, in 2005 by a Swiss initiative, in 2008 by a Finnish initiative. So please welcome Dr. Heide.
Thank you for your kind and warm welcome. I feel honored to speak here at the FiLiA conference for the first time, and it's really an amazing event. I'm overwhelmed sometimes. I would like to say at the beginning some words to both women who are sharing this panel, Andrea Fleckinger, Dr. Andrea Fleckinger, and Dr. Angela Dolmetsch. Andrea Fleckinger, she is a young scholar, and she studied at the International Academy FiLiA, and now she is training herself to become the representative of my work in future. It's a true spiritual mother-daughter. It's a true spiritual mother-daughter bond. Spiritual mother of her. And Dr. Angela Dolmetsch, she is Colombian, she lives in Colombia. She will explain the women's village of Nashira in Colombia. She's a long-term friend of mine, and I visited her in Colombia. I was fascinated of the work she does there for women, creating this women's village which is really sovereign. That's great. You will hear about her in the end. Now, the first speaker will be Andrea, then me, and in the end you will see Angela Dolmetsch.
Dr. Andrea Fleckinger lives with her 2 children in South Tyrol, Italy. She's a postdoctoral researcher at the Center for Interdisciplinary Gender Studies at the University of Trento, Italy. And Andrea has a PhD in general and social pedagogy and worked between 2007 and 2021 at a women's shelter supporting women and children who survive gender-based violence. She gives lectures at both national and international universities, and she is a certificated lecturer on modern matriarchal studies. Andrea Fleckinger's research projects adopt a feminist approach focusing on women and gender equality, gender-based violence, social work practices, mothering, and possibilities for social change. As a feminist and activist, she promotes social transformation inspired by contemporary matriarchal societies. Please welcome Dr. Andrea.
I would like to introduce the social structure of matriarchal societies, and I would talk about matrilineality, matriarchality, about care, and about love. First of all, I would like to start with a little preamble regarding the term matriarchy, Because usually when I use this word, two things happen. First, the term matriarchy triggers a broad spectrum of emotions, from interest to fear, from fascination to rejection. Second, most of the time, the term matriarchy is understood completely wrong. It's assumed that the matriarchy is something about the domination of mothers or some place where women rule. As research shows, in matriarchies, there is no place for domination or for hierarchies. And following the definition developed by Heidegger-Abendroth, at a linguistic level, we notice that the term matriarchy consists of two syllables, matri and arche. Matri could be translated easily as mother, whereas arche has two meanings. As most of us have been raised within a patriarchal society, when we talk about societies, we are used to translate arche with domination. So when we refer to patriarchy, it is the domination of fathers, the domination of men. This is an accurate translation of the term patriarchy and leads us to forget the further meaning of arche. Keeping the focus on language, in several moments we came across the second meaning of arche. For example, when we talk about archaeology, nobody would ever translate archaeology with the science of domination, but we all know that archaeologists focus on the origins, on the beginnings. The same is true also for Young's theory on the archetypes. Also in that context, arche refers to origin, source, beginning. Therefore, the correct translation for matriarchy is, in the beginning, the mothers. And this translation of matriarchy captures also the core principle around which these societies are organized, the mother. Understood in the broadest sense of the life-giving principle. So it is the mother, the heart of the society, and all of the actions and contributions of each member aim to safeguard life. Therefore, to me, it is crucial to highlight that a matriarchal society is an egalitarian, peaceful society where all sexes and all generations live together in a balanced, equal way. And equality does not mean that everybody is or has to become identical. Equality rather implies a deep respect for diversity and the recognition of the particular talents and interests a person has. To understand how this equality is enacted in practice, we need both. We need to understand the values of this specific social order, and we need to look at the concrete actions that translate the matriarchal value system into practice. And so the research of Dr. Muthian recalls a guiding principle for the Khoisan of Africa, which we can observe also among other contemporary matriarchal societies. It is Ubuntu, I am because I belong. The Ubuntu principle is the complete opposite of the values we had been trained in our patriarchal, capitalist, neoliberal societies. So we connect usually to Descartes, I think, therefore I am. So we are used to this focus on rationality and to the individual as the core principle for our existence. So nowadays we can observe this collective focus on independency, self-mastery, and this idea of the winner that takes it all. Ubuntu, I am because I belong, puts the relationship and the belonging in the center. So where people are not longer longing for something, somebody, somewhere, because they know where and to whom they belong. And that is what a matriarchy is about. To understand a society and its structures, as I said, it's not enough just to look for the values, but it is important to understand how these are enacted in practice. So what exactly people in matriarchal societies do to create this particular way of a society where everybody belongs. We can start our understanding with the kinship system. Matriarchal society is organized along the principle of matrilineal and matriarchality. Matrilineal means that all the people in the maternal line are related to each other. So I tried to make a figure which illustrates a classical matriclan. So of course, this now is a very, very general representation, and it is just the idea to make understandable this principle of matrilineal. In reality, of course, there exist many different clan constellations, but they are all following this principle of matrilineal. So a matriclan usually consists of 3 generations: the mother, the grandmother, and the daughter. The mother has also other siblings. In this example, she has a sister and a brother. The sister takes also on the role of the mother in addition to the biological mother. So, which means that maternal responsibility is shared in everyday life, and the daughter has several female primary caregivers. So, when you ask a woman, how many children do you have? Her answer will refer to all the children she cares for, and not only to the children she gave birth. And the same is also true for the brother. He is the central male figure who plays an active, caring, and educating role. Translated to our concepts, we would say that the brother acts as a father. But of course, in a matrilinear system, our Western term fatherhood is completely inadequate. So therefore, we need to refer to him as the mother-brother, who is the central male figure for the children. And a mother, of course, she can have also more children. So also the sons, they do not grow up without a male role either. They find the primary male reference person in the mother-brother or the mother-brothers. Further, it is also possible that the sister has biological children. So she will grow up her children within the maternal network of several mothers and mother-brothers that take care altogether of the next generation. And the children, they will refer to each other as siblings. And as I said, there are classically 3 generations, which means there are even more people who take care of the youngest generation, like several grandmothers and grandmother brothers or granduncles. And as care follows a reciprocal understanding, it is not directed exclusively to the youngest generation, but it is rather an ongoing process between all clan members. Therefore, it is also part of the responsibilities of the younger generation to take care for the elders. So, in sum, we can state that in a matriclan, there are no such big intergenerational conflicts as we face in our societies, because the importance is on caring for each other and on belonging to each other. It's not about production or accumulation or similar patriarchal capitalist stuff. And when I'm saying that there are no intergenerational conflicts, that does not mean that I draw a romantic picture of a matriarchal society. Of course, people face some challenges and also conflicts in their relationships, but the important message to me is that these individual conflicts do not take on pandemic proportions as we experience it in our societies. And they are not part of the symbolic order of the society, and this difference is very important to keep in mind. The second crucial element to the social structure in a matriarchy is matrilocality, which means that all clan members live in the same house. So a matriclan is understood as an entity of production and living. Women are at the center, and the status of women and men is equal. And every matriclan is embedded in a network with other clans, and so they work as a mutual support system. So with Heidegger Abendroth, we can state that at the social level, matriarchies are non-hierarchical, horizontal societies of matrilineal kindship. I would like to add a few words on care and motherhood. Matriarchal societies, cooperation and care are the core values. So everything and everybody is understood as belonging to each other, as connected, and therefore respected, and in need to be cared for. And to be embedded in this reciprocal cycle of caring is understood as a valuable human condition. So in contrast to our societies, where we experience a strong misrecognition of care. So those who care are misregarded, as most of the caring activities are unpaid or poorly paid. And as we have seen during the pandemic, when the carers are in need, they get an applause. When, for example, banks are in need, they get an immense financial support. So further, care receivers are not labeled as losers. They have not failed. They are not a burden or something the carers have to conceal in some way. In matriarchal societies, care is put at the center, and the maternal principle is considered the formative element of social organization. And this is less about a concrete woman or a concrete mother, but rather about those practices that nourish, provide, and bring forth life. So it is really this broadest sense of maternity or care. And so this guiding principle, we can understand it as the highest commandment at all levels of social organization. And the Minangkabau, which is the largest matriarchal societies of our times, they sum it up as nature is our teacher. So for human coexistence, understanding nature as teacher also means endeavoring to honor and protect life, which is understood as cyclical. Nature is understood as a giver, who unconditionally gives everybody everything he or she needs to live. In the same way, the process of pregnancy and birth is understood as holy, where women give life out of themselves. So the mother-child relationship is seen as the smallest and most central unit, a unit that on the one hand is very vulnerable and needs the protection of the community, and on the other hand, it represents the backbone of society, through which society keeps itself alive. So when I said matriarchy puts the mothers at the beginning, and in that sense, motherhood and the caring relation between mother and child is seen as an ideal form of cooperation, nurturing, and creation, and it serves as a role model and has been translated into a framework for the whole society. So it's not production, commodification, or accumulation. It is caring, nurturing, and mothering that makes a society flourish. And as a logical consequence, also the mechanisms of social recognition are based on these values. So a person in a matriarchal society gets social recognition based on his or her caring capabilities and actions. Finally, I would like to say something regarding intimate relationships and the concept of visiting marriage. You remember our Matri clan. Let's assume that one of the women falls in love with a man. He is part of another Matri clan. They simply enjoy their love together. They have no economic or political ties or family pressures. Therefore, their relationship is just based on love and affection. Intimate relationships are free of everyday duties, challenges, or routines, because the two partners, they will not create their own entity of production. Everybody belongs still to his Matri clan or her Matri clan. This is the place where he lives, where he works, or where he shares his wages, and this is the place where she lives and she works, or where she shares her wages with the clan members. So The clan is the place where the everyday life is managed together with the other clan members. In the evening and during the night, the man will visit his partner, you can call her wife if you prefer, and in the morning he will return to his matri clan where he has his responsibilities. This model is called visiting marriage. And the relationship, they last until they are in love, because there are no everyday burdens connected with the relationship. There are no ideologies or expectations of a lifelong marriage. So, in that sense, in matriarchal societies, the people, they live their love in a free way. And when I say free, I refer to the freedom from everyday duties, the freedom from economic dependencies, and the freedom from repressing ideologies of how they should live their marriage and how long this has to last. Free does not mean that intimate relationships are free from respect, or that it's not about changing your intimate partner every hour. In matriarchal societies, intimate relationships are respectful. They are characterized by profound feelings of love and belonging to each other. And of course, some of them last also very long. So when we talk about freedom in relationships, it is very important to understand this idea of freedom correctly. What happens when a woman gets pregnant? The children belong to her and her matri clan. She and her sisters and brothers, together with the grandmothers and the grandmother brothers, are responsible for raising, caring, and educating the children. The partner has no link to the children, as he already has his responsibilities to take care for the children of his sisters. And what happens when they split off? Maybe they are disappointed, maybe not, but despite of sad feelings, a break-off has no consequences. Nobody will lose his or her home. Nobody will experience any financial difference. Nobody will end up in poverty. And the children? Well, they keep their primary caregivers. And as motherhood is shared, even if the mother should be grieving her separation and having sad feelings, the children still have enough other primary caregivers who meet their needs. And with that, I thank you for your attention, and I hope I have succeeded in giving you an impression of the social structures in matriarchal societies. And now I'm looking forward to pass on the word to the founder of the modern matriarchal studies, Heide Göttner-Abendroth.
In modern matriarchal studies, we develop a new and adequate understanding of matriarchy, which is lacking everywhere. Matriarchies are not the mirror image of patriarchies, now with women ruling over men, as a common prejudice will says it. To the contrary, they are mother-centered societies with complementary equality between the genders and among the generations. In this sense, they are truly egalitarian. It is clear that they cannot be understood from the perspective of Western, male-biased anthropology, but that indigenous societies of this kind are of utmost importance to show us the way. Learning from them, we can begin to understand matriarchy better. Therefore, I made comparative studies of as many currently existing societies of this kind as possible, in order to find their common features on the 4 levels: social, economic, political, and cultural. As you have heard from Andrea, who demonstrated the social patterns of matriarchal societies, motherhood is respected as the most important function in society. By matrilineality and matrilocality, Mothers are at the center of these societies without ruling. In general, matriarchies are based on maternal values, which have been taken from the prototypical behavior of the mother: nurturing, caring, integrative attitude, mutual assistance, reciprocity and perfect balance, solving conflicts by negotiations, not by violence, and active peacebuilding. These values hold for everybody, for mothers and those who are not mothers, for women and men alike. In that way, matriarchal societies are consciously built upon maternal values and motherly work. They are, on principle, need-oriented. Their precepts aim to meet everyone's needs with the greatest benefit. In matriarchies, motherhood, which originates as a biological fact, is transformed into a cultural model. This cultural model is well balanced, for balance is one of their most important principles. Great care is taken to provide a balance between genders among generations and between humans and nature. I would like to present the matriarchal patterns now on the economic and political level. The social order based on motherhood includes far-reaching consequences for the economic level. Matriarchal economy is a subsistence economy. There is no such thing as private property, and there are no territorial claims. The people simply have usage rights on the soil they till, of the pastures their animals graze. The spiritual idea behind this is that Mother Earth cannot be owned or cut up into pieces. She gives the fruits of the fields and the young animals to all people as an unceasing flow of gifts. It is interesting that women have the power of disposition over goods and clan houses, and especially over the sources of nourishment. All the goods are put in the hands of the clan mother, the matriarch, the harvest and herding products, the goods of the men's hunting and fishing, the goods of handicrafts, and special goods men acquire by trading. However, it is an economy of distribution, not of accumulation and possession and greed, as it is in patriarchal economy. Everybody trusts in the eldest mother that she, oldest mother of all clan members, distributes the goods equally among her children and grandchildren. She is responsible for the sustenance and protection of all clan members. And this is not understood as an economical idea, but as a spiritual one. The matriarch acts as Mother Nature does. Nature gives in abundance to all her beings. So the matriarch gives to all her children for a good life. She nurtures and cares for everybody, according to needs, not according to merits. These principles of sharing and giving are not reserved to the clan, but are extended to the whole community of village or town. At the seasonal festivals, clans that are comparatively better off will invite all the inhabitants to be their guests and will give away their goods as gifts to all their neighbors. This goes round in the village from one festival to the next. At these opportunities, the matriarchs appear in their most beautiful costumes and loaded with gifts and perform lavish giveaways. And by redistributing the wealth in this way, no one stays poor. It is a mutual support system well balanced in itself, but it is not just seen as a profane economic arrangement, but as a spiritual system. At these gift-giving festivals, the matriarchies are seen as the daughters of Mother Earth. They are mothers themselves and act in the same way as the earth does. So we can see that the economy too is based on maternal values. Since this is a general attitude, matriarchal economy can be called a gift economy in the true sense. It prevents development of competition and exploitation, which are typical in a patriarchal exchange economy. Instead, it fully achieves a gift economy, as the philosopher Genevieve Vaughan has formulated it. Therefore, on the economic level, I define matriarchies as societies of economic reciprocity and balance based on the circulation of gifts. Maternal values also permeate the political level. The patterns of this level follow the principle of consensus, which means unanimity regarding each decision. To manifest a principle like this in practice, a society must be specifically organized, and matriarchal societies are organized in a system of councils, which are intertwined in a sophisticated network. Matrilineal kinship lines are once again the starting point. The basis of each decision-making is the individual clan house, where the people related in the mother line live, women and men, the elders and the youths. Here, the real politics is made, which influences the more comprehensive bodies, the village and town councils, and the regional and tribal councils. These latter councils are meetings of male delegates in the role of speakers from the individual clan houses in order to communicate, discuss, and coordinate matters. They are only bearers of information, but do not take decisions on their own. Matters that concern the clan house are decided upon by the women and men in a consensus process of the clan. The same applies to decisions concerning the whole village. The clan delegates meet together in the village council, but do not take decisions themselves. They simply communicate the decisions that have been taken in their clan houses. And if all have the same opinion, the matter is solved. But this is not often the case. If the different clan houses have different opinions to special matters, then these delegates move back and forth between the clan houses and the village council. The discussion continues in the clan houses, and they move back and forth until the whole village has reached consensus. Village or town. The same applies at the regional level, which may be quite broad. The delegates move between the local council and the regional council back and forth until consensus of all villages and towns in the region is reached. And the region has taken a consensus decision in which all people are included. Therefore, the origin of all politics is in the clan houses, and in this way, a true grassroots democracy is put into practice. In such a political system, no hierarchies and classes and no rulers can develop, as well as no gender gap and generation gap. Instead, matriarchies are truly egalitarian. Minorities are not excluded by the majority, as it is common in our formal democracies. So, on the political level, I define matriarchies as egalitarian societies of consensus. The spiritual idea behind this is also learned from Mother Nature. She shows that diversity is the true wealth. Matriarchal people see it that way. Diversity of ideas, knowledge, and contributions to the council is wealth. And this attitude enables them to see the many aspects of a matter on which to decide. Their consensus finding is a very creative process in order to obtain a result that fits everybody. The ability to listen, to respect different opinions, and to integrate them follows maternal values. This ability is demonstrated by women and men equally in the councils. The aim is to solve problems by negotiation and build peace. Now I would like to show you some pictures of women from matriarchal societies. Here you see an Iroquoian woman in traditional costume, and you see her dignity in which she stands there. The Iroquois society, which consisted of 5 big tribes, was the first one which has been researched as a classical matriarchal society in the last centuries. Here you see a Hopi grandmother plaiting a basket with symbolic design, and her little granddaughter is watching her. She's very curious what her grandmother does. In this way, children learn by doing, by watching, and by doing. These are women from the marketplace of Juchitán, a city in Mexico, about 10,000 people, a city which is organized in matriarchal patterns. So you see, matriarchal societies are not only confined to villages, they also thrive in towns, in cities. In this city, women have the economy in their hands because they are on the marketplace and buy and sell all the goods of daily life which they have produced. The men are in the fields and do agricultural work and deliver all the goods into the hands of women who sell them and share them in the marketplace. An example from North Africa. Here you see Tuareg women. Their indigenous name is Imajigen. We are accustomed to see the Tuareg as fierce warriors. Yes, the men do this and are competitive among the tribes, but the women hold the social order in the matrilineality and matrilocality, and all what men can acquire by long-distance trade is given into the hands of the women in the tents. They have the economy in their hands. And these fierce warriors follow very devotedly their women. Another example from West Africa. Here you see a queen mother. She is painting some magical signs on her silver stool. The queen mothers in West African societies are representatives of the women, of the half of the society of the women. The king represents the male half of the society, but the queen mother is the sacred head of the whole society. She is showing these magical signs to her eldest daughter, who will follow her on the silver stool. 2 examples from Asia. These are Khasi women from the Meghalaya country of northeast India. With the harvest, they have the clan houses and the land in their hands, and the harvest is stored by them, and they have, in the same sense, the economy in their hands. The last example, these are Mozo women from China. I did field work there with them. It was fascinating to be with them. They love dancing and singing and do the agricultural work themselves. Men do long-distance trade and fishing. And they live close to the Tibetan corner in the mountains, and they also have still preserved matriarchal patterns till to the present. I would like to make a short note on matriarchal politics. As you have heard here, matriarchies are not abstract utopias constructed according to philosophical concepts that can never be implemented. On the contrary, they have existed throughout long periods of history and exist until today. They embody an enormous amount of intellectual creativity and practical experience. Therefore, we can really learn from them a lot. But what can we use for our present day situation as Western women? I would like to make some suggestions for new mother-centered, egalitarian and peaceful societies. And this path is called matriarchal politics, or how to get rid of patriarchy. It is matriarchal politics which show the way out by two basic ideas and demands. First, women should develop and lead various types of communities and cooperatives which are matriarchal. We have to form communities, matriarchal communities, to protect women and children, to protect ourselves. This is a demand that concerns us as women to leave our extreme individualism and these nuclear families and to create new forms of social order, which we can learn from matriarchal societies. The second basic demand of matriarchal politics is, it concerns society. Women should get back the economy in their hands. Therefore, 50% of the wealth of each national state belongs to the women and should be given back to them. Then matriarchal communities and institutions of every kind will quickly arise and will thrive. I just wanted to give these two ideas in short, and in the following workshop about matriarchal politics, we will just discuss these ideas on demands in more detail. And this workshop follows quite after the panel. When you hear Angela Dolmetsch at the end of this panel, she will give us an excellent example about her women's village in Colombia, based on intentional relationship and on matriarchal principles. And I think this can encourage us that it is possible to do this, to create communities, women's communities with matriarchal patterns. And the other thing about we get the economy back in our hands, more in our workshop. And here I brought with me the matriarchal manifesta. It's manifesta because it's from women for women. Yeah? Here you can find in detail some ideas which have developed by many discussions I had with women about how to implement matriarchal principles in our Western societies. Here you can find a lot of ideas and some demands and ideas how to get there. Thank you so much for listening.
Dr. Angela Dolmetsch was born in Cali, Colombia. She has a law degree from La Universidad San Buenaventura and a PhD from London University. Her thesis was on maternalism in Colombian politics. She met Genevieve Bogan in 2001 at the Wise Women's Workshop in Lotten, Norway, and since then she has been trying to put into practice the maternal gift economy. The eco-village Nashira is a practical example of the gift economy where 80 mothers, victims of the Colombian conflict, receive land to build with government subsidies 80 houses at no cost. She is the director of a weekly TV program, El Ágora, and writes a column in the Cali newspaper, El País. She has published several books, La Otra Cara del Dólar, Of Governments and Guerrillas, El hombrecillo que se tragó a Dios y otros relatos. She also has articles in several publications. The following books are forthcoming. Las Madres en la Política Colombiana, Nashira, Un Canto de Amor. So please welcome Angela Dolmesh in a video.
Heidi Gertner-Abendroth, valuable statement. The matriarchy is not a utopia, but a form of social organization present in the planet since the beginning of humanity, bring us to South America, where 2,000 years ago, in the 1st century AD, in the Cauca River Valley, in what is now Colombia, there lived a community that is believed to have adhered to matriarchal principles and worship an Earth Mother figure and many female deities. The Malagana Cansaterva culture was only discovered 30 years ago when a sugarcane worker accidentally uncovered a gold figure. He had discovered a remarkable hoard of ceramic and gold artifacts, very different in character from other previously known indigenous cultures in the region. The gold pieces were very fine, and experts have recognized the quality by comparing them to objects found in the tomb of Tutankhamun. The ceramic depicts mostly female figures, and amongst them were alcarrazas or drinking vessels with double spouts, or birth-giving, or burial urns with pregnant women. Here you can see a ceramic figure of a woman giving birth, sitting, probably pregnant, and breastfeeding at the same time, quite distant from any seen before in other pre-Columbian cultures. Archaeologists believe the Cansaterva culture was matriarchal and worshipped not only the Mother Earth, but also women goddesses capable of fulfilling the function of mothering and generating the miracle of life-giving. As can be seen from the clay and gold figures found recently in newly uncovered graves, here you can see multiple breasts. Here you can see a gold pectoral showing a child pushing himself with his hands to be born. These figures of mothers giving birth and breastfeeding symbolize gifts received from Mother Nature and were objects of worship together with the sun and the moon. European colonialism, accompanied by religious catechization, expelled violently the relationship with Mother Earth, as Vandana Shiva rightly puts it. Colonialism established patriarchal societies, gave a price for captured men as slaves, and for the bodies of women as sex objects for the use of the patriarchal invaders. They devalued motherhood and established patriarchal paradigms that still dominate and subvert the indigenous communities that strive to preserve their ancestral traditions. The Cog indigenous people of the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta are considered by scholars a matriarchal community, but if you look at them carefully, they have been hijacked by patriarchy. The Mamo shaman is the all-powerful head of the community. He is the one who chooses the husband for his daughters according to his capacity. Significantly and symbolically, the eco-village Nachira is located in the same area as the Cansaterva culture. The Nachira eco-village, where mother rule, is a modern effort to revive ancestral indigenous customs based on the tradition of matriarchal society. Giving back to mothers the control of the land so as to allow Mother Nature to give her gifts. 88 women received as a gift from Mother Nature a sustainable eco-village. They receive from her own organic food. They grow plantain, sachainchi, chirimoyas, grapes, and many more fruits and vegetables. The sun gives them solar energy to cook in the solar kitchen. And in contrast to an often exploitative exchange economy, neighbors give and receive gifts according to their needs and those of the children. The houses in Nachira were built with ecologically friendly materials. All households are headed by women, since the houses were given to them. Many households are women only, like the household of Yamile Perdomo, who has 7 children, and she had her first child when she was 13. Her companion had to be expelled from Nachira because he had the habit of beating her every 15 days when he got drunk with his pay. In some cases, the eldest son or brother has taken the role of father. This is the case of Elsie's family, a truly matriarchal family. Being an open-door community, children and the elderly are never alone. Some of the activities of the women in Nachira are making pottery, in some cases using the Malagana designs. Another group makes handmade paper, papier-mâché, while composting is done with the organic waste and the help of Californian worms. Other women proudly collect and recycle organic waste from the neighborhood in an electric van given to them by the Palmira municipality. Recycled plastic, glass, and other inorganic materials are stored and recycled and used to make products for their own use. Free-range chicken, turkeys, and other birds are also part of the Nachira Sustainable Eco-Village. Removables are done in a horse-drawn carriage. All administrative decisions are taken by the women by consensus. The consumption of alcohol is not encouraged, and men who have incurred violent acts against their partners or children have been expelled. Men are encouraged to participate in conference of new masculinities. There is no crime in Nachira. Violence against women was eradicated as Nachira is a community with open doors where women support each other. Child care and maintaining the eco-village attached share through mingas or collective work. The floor of the Agora, our meeting place, is one example. And the solar clock, which was made by the young people of Nachira, is another. The fountain of the Pachamama was also the result of collective work. The composting toilet, where the walls were made with plastic bottles collected in the peace marches in Nachira, was another one. In Nachira, we had held several seminars. The Matriarchal Circles in 2013, where Heidi Göttner-Abendroth was our main speaker. The Conference of the Gift Economy in 2019, with the presence of Genevieve Vaughn, and the launching of her book, Para Donar. This is the tree of gifts. Companies, women, men have been encouraged to give gifts to Nachira, and their names are recorded in leaves painted in the trees of gifts, as well as the name of those people that belong to the Time Bank and give free of charge lectures, teach languages, sexual education, legal advice, etc. Ruby, a single mother aged 19, is now studying law, as the first person in her family who goes to university. In its 20 years of existence, the Nachira Eco-Village has changed paradigms. Women are respected, and unwanted adolescent pregnancies are no longer the norm. Mothers do not need to essentially sell or seek their daughters to richer neighbors for money, and violence against women has been largely eliminated. Women are the sole owners of their houses and would allow both in her house and in their bodies only those persons that they want. Matriarchal societies has helped to make extreme poverty a thing of the past, at a time when the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the frailties of today's social structure. This hut was placed in a visible place in the eco-village at the time of the pandemic. If you don't have food to eat, place a white cloth on your door and we will help you. I am happy to share with you this very short documentary of Nachira.
Yo soy madre, cabeza de hogar. Y entonces como pues el arriendo es demasiado caro y uno para levantar la familia y todo eso es muy duro. Y nosotros vimos esto desocupado, muchas familias, y nos atrevimos a ocupar este terreno. Y zancudos, malos olores, nos tenemos que aguantar los malos olores y todo eso, porque cuando crece el río también tenemos peligro. La bendición de Dios sería uno tener su casa. Uno piensa más que todo para los hijos, porque los hijos es la meta de uno.
En Colombia, el conflicto armado nace y permanece ligado a la generación y distribución de la riqueza y del poder político. La desigualdad económica ha profundizado las formas de sobrevivencia de la población. Como resultado de la guerra y el desplazamiento forzado de las zonas rurales a las zonas urbanas, las mujeres han entrado a conformar los cinturones de miseria de las ciudades, donde llegan con sus hijos o porque han quedado solas o porque han sido abandonadas como el resultado de la cultura machista que hace que los hombres sean esporádicos. El 33% de los hogares colombianos tienen a una mujer como cabeza de familia y los índices de pobreza indican que el 70% de las personas en pobreza extrema son mujeres que sobreviven con unos ingresos de $1 diario. Por el hacinamiento y la pobreza, la violencia contra la mujer ha adquirido proporciones epidémicas y el embarazo de las adolescentes es un problema de nunca acabar.
En un predio de 3 hectáreas en el municipio de Palmira, en Colombia, 88 mujeres cabeza de familia vienen cultivando la tierra durante los últimos 6 años. Las mujeres han hecho sus propias huertas para tener seguridad alimentaria. Con la ayuda de artistas internacionales y un premio otorgado por un hábitat, los jóvenes de Nachira han elaborado el proyecto La vida es un teatro. Con retal de mosaico, las jóvenes han construido el piso del ágora o centro de encuentro y de recreación para niños y adultos, decorado con elementos alusivos a la ecoaldea. Muchas de las mujeres y jóvenes de Nachira vienen de áreas rurales que han sido afectadas por la violencia. Por eso, las mujeres de Nachira están en el proceso de generar un proyecto único y una comunidad ecológica, solidaria y sostenible.
Hace muchos años quedamos desplazados con mi familia y éramos pequeños y nos tocó llegar a la ciudad de Cali y vivir en un barrio de invasión donde la vida era muy insegura y pues había muchas dificultades. Ahora aquí me siento muy feliz de vivir aquí en la ecoaldea Nachira, compartiendo con mi familia, con mis padres, con los niños, con toda la ecoaldea, con toda la comunidad. Nos sentimos felices, aquí tenemos nuestra vivienda, segura, tranquila.
Desde hace 12 años pertenezco a la Asociación Mujeres de Cabeza de Familia del proyecto Nachira. Eso hace que trabajamos por una mejor calidad de vida. Hoy vivo en mi casa con mi familia y soy muy feliz porque aquí conseguimos paz, tranquilidad y aire puro.
Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio 2 luceros que cuando los abro perfecto distingo lo negro del blanco y en el alto cielo su fondo estrellado. Y en las multitudes el hombre que yo amo. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el oído que en todo su ancho graba noche y día, grillos y canarios, martillos, turbinas, ladridos, chubascos y la voz tan tierna de mi bien amado. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido y el abecedario, con él las palabras que pienso y declaro, madre, amigo, hermano y luz alumbrando la ruta del alma del que estoy amando.
This village in Colombia and many other women's villages, like in Africa, like in Rojava, can give us hope.
On behalf of FiLiA, on behalf of all the women here, and as myself, thank you for showing us that another world is possible. So thank you so much.